Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the General Hospital recap for June 22nd through 26th, 2026. We have quite a few Port Charles pipelines to get us started with. We'll start with the emails and then we'll get to the different stuff.
Okay.
So from Sherry. So Ethan took the DNA from the PCPD and switched it with his own at the hospital. So he is not the father, but someone who has their DNA evidence is, because it would have to be an adult male whose DNA. So someone in Port Charles is Phoebe's father, but who? Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we never actually said that, but that's when I was like, he's the father. And then we both went, but we don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was confused at first because I was thinking that what he was taking, he had just talked about how Phoebe wouldn't have anything of Delilah's. And then he broke into that box. So in that moment, I was thinking that he took something of hers, like an article of clothing, her favorite necklace. I don't know what they took off the body that the PCPD has. But I was thinking maybe that is what he was collecting, was something to find a way, like, you know, the birth dad doesn't want to be involved, but he said, give this to Phoebe or whatever.
Yeah.
And then whenever he did the DNA switch, I was like, okay, so he was stealing someone's DNA and it couldn't have been Delilah's because then she would have two moms and we don't make babies that way. So I don't know who it would be.
I don't know if it necessarily means it's somebody in Port Charles either, because if Delilah was trying to avoid the father, why would she meet him in Port Charles?
Somebody who
but it's probably somebody international.
Charles?
It could be someone that's international whose DNA would be in the database automatically, a bad person.
But if they didn't get the DNA from like just a database, it was a box in the unsolved crimes.
Right. But we still don't know how that happened.
But they wouldn't have like France's unsolved DNA sitting in Port Charles.
No, right. But it came out of Delilah's box.
Did it come out of Delilah's box?
I think so.
That's what I'm saying, is I don't know that was Delilah's box.
So we're really not even sure exactly what happened there.
Right.
I thought it was Delilah's box. I thought that he was taking whatever it was that they had in Delilah's box and replacing it with his. But, well, no, because he took Sherry, I think it's actually the opposite. I think that Liz took his DNA, left the open bag there, and he took what was ever in the evidence that he took and gave it as his DNA. So that's what they're going to think is his DNA. So I think he is the father. I'm going to have to go back to last week's episode and listen to how we discussed this. Because now that I'm thinking about, because he took the DNA, he took the whatever it is out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know which box to go into to get DNA? That's another thing. And then replaced his, unless, is he going to go back in and put his DNA in Delilah's box?
No, he took out what Liz had swabbed from him.
Right.
And put the DNA that he got out of the box in that bag.
Right. In that bag. So it will be his.
So it will be his DNA and it will match the baby. And so he will be determined the dad. Okay. So he can sign off on it. The question is, where did that DNA come from? Because if he would have gone into the box that was marked Delilah's and stole Delilah's DNA, your DNA shows if you're a boy or a girl. So when they ran that test, it would show up as double Delilah DNA, and they would know you need another parent. However, so that can't be the right DNA. So whose DNA did he take that is the baby daddy that he knew was the baby daddy, but had at some point in time been in Port Charles to give a DNA swab?
Unless they got it from Phoebe somehow. Like, that's what I'm saying, is I feel like there's something, because they would then have to know if it was with Delilah's stuff, they would have to know who the guy is.
So I'm thinking that this is going to turn out that
Could it be the umbilical cord?
doesn't that still just have the mom DNA?
Or is that just the babies? Because that's why you get the cord blood saved.
Right. I don't know. So what I'm thinking
Sorry, it's
is
been 20
right.
years.
And I didn't think the cord blood, so I don't know what exactly is in there. I'm thinking that Ethan knows that Cassius isn't Nathan and that Cassius is the dad because we just talked about Cassius's DNA being run to confirm that he was Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you want to know how stupid our last phrase just was?
Whatever. Go ahead. How dumb are we?
We're both dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, listen, it is 9:45 on Friday night. Neither of us have had a drink. We actually were just discussing that.
I don't feel like that's an excuse.
I've had a headache all day.
Yeah.
What were we just discussing makes up the baby's blood? Like the baby's DNA is 50% mom, 50% dad.
Yeah.
So yes, if the baby's DNA is in the cord,
you can test off of the babies.
50% of that would be the dad.
But it's not just the dad, is it? Is it an exact mix?
They might have split it.
What's Google telling you that you're calling us stupid?
Says, yes, the father's DNA is in the cord blood. Because 50% of the baby is the dad.
Yes, but I mean, is it an exact split? Like, can they look at that DNA and be like, this comes from mom and this came from dad to use it for a DNA test? No, and there's no way.
But there's something, I'm going with it's cord blood. That there was something in the box that, but they would have already done that though. They would have already run that when they were looking for the parent to see if they were already in the system. You would think.
I would think.
You would think that they would. So if it is Cassius, well, he's not in the system. Because Nathan is.
Right. But he also shouldn't have an unsolved mystery box because Nathan's death was not an unsolved mystery. We knew how Nathan died.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. He couldn't have been taking Delilah's DNA because that would show that
I didn't say he was taking Delilah's DNA. He was taking the DNA that shows who the father is from Delilah's box.
But what's Yo! All right. You know what? I quit. I'm gonna get up and walk out. Like, you're gonna record the rest of this by yourself. Are you sure there's nothing in that cup?
It's lemonade.
Hard lemonade?
And it's actually lemonade cut with water. No, it's simply strawberry lemonade with water.
Okay.
It's water and then lemonade.
Okay. The evidence
All right, let's move on.
Box. I don't know what Delilah would have in her evidence box. That doesn't sound any better. That would tell us who the dad is. Oh my gosh. All right. You know what? I'm waiting to be surprised. I don't know who
well,
Delilah...
that's what I'm saying is I feel like we're actually not given enough information at this point.
I quit. I don't know. Okay. I'm not a forensic.
All right. We just made it way more difficult than it needs to be. So,
I mean, that happens often, but
yeah.
All right. Next one. That was Sherry who said that. Thank you, Sherry, for making us be inappropriate, even when we didn't mean to be.
Okay. This is from, it says age differences. Hi, ladies. I've been listening since the early pandemic and really enjoy your podcast. Wow. That's been, I'm so glad we're through that time.
Right?
It's been driving me crazy when you bring up the age differences of Nathan and Joss. It's 19 years, but I've never mentioned the age difference of Willow and Drew, which is 26 years. The Willow-Drew age difference has creeped me out since day one. The family dynamic is also part of the creepiness. Can't imagine sleeping with my husband's much older uncle who is old enough to be my dad. Those are the actual ages, not character ages, but either way, the age gap is significant. Thank you from Washington State. And there's no name, but I kind of feel like whenever we imply you slept with your husband's uncle, I feel like that automatically attaches to the age thing too. Because we also do the same thing with Ava and Kiki.
Yep.
With the Griff, like the Morgan, like we've never really said it's gross that Ava slept with Morgan because of the age, but it's also because you slept with your daughter's boyfriend.
Right.
So I feel like that, at least for me, like that's kind of automatically tied in with
And
that.
I don't think I realized there was that much of an age difference of the actors.
Maybe that's just not like we don't clarify on that, but yeah, that's definitely.
Oh, it's another ew factor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like it's automatically implied though when it comes to, it's different than sleeping with a brother that might be 15 years older, and we'd be like, that we might be more like, oh my gosh, and he slept with his, because it's also the same thing with like Monica sleeping with Ned. Like, no, she wound up sleeping with her nephew,
Mm-hmm.
and there it's implied there's also an age gap thing.
Yep.
So, but thank you for listening.
Yeah, that's a long time. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, we have like people from the very beginning.
God bless them for sticking through it with us.
Yeah. So we will try to be more distinct in that, I guess. But
We'll go over
I guess
all
maybe
the
going
issues.
forward, anytime we are discussing the fact that a father or son have also slept with the same person, we are also discussing the age thing.
Yeah. We will go over all the ick.
Exactly. Comment on, could they really have had that job?
Okay.
Hello, ladies. Listening to the latest podcast and had to hit pause and fire off this email since I'm literally yelling around here in my office. Okay, what do you do?
Right? Why
How
is
can
no
you
one checking
say-
on you?
How can you say you see any type of growth in Kristina in the past few years? Not only did she cut the brakes and try to kill Ava, with no thought of whether Avery would have been in the car or someone else would have been parked in her spot, which of course Rick was, but she participated in locking up and drugging her sister's father for a month. But now she wants to help people. Give me a break. I really enjoy your podcast. Thank you for listening to my rant. Thank you for ending it that way.
Yes.
Leslie from the other side of PA.
I will 100% agree with the break thing because I honestly didn't think about it as we were talking about her overall progress. I don't blame her for the stuff with Rick just because she was following Alexis and Ava's lead.
Now, you see, I would actually be the reverse because she was grieving and that was post-traumatic stress with Avery, or with Ava, with Ava, but also it could have involved Avery 100%. But that I felt was, it's not excusable, but she also realized she was in a dangerous place herself after she did that. And she needed help and she needed to get through what she was going through. But I honestly did kind of forget that she was involved with the locking up of Rick, just because it was mostly Ava and Alexis. Good points.
Yep.
I was thinking more of the, I guess I was thinking, even though it was a recast, the mob princess.
Right. Growth from that. Yes.
Into having fallen into a cult, having grown and been able to get out of that and become the manager of Charlie's and being selfless and offering herself to be the surrogate of her sister's baby. And then what happened. And I mean, I would like to think I would not have done the same thing, but also you don't know what's going to happen with hormones and how your body processes that. And she was not getting the help that she needed. And that kind of was her wake up call. But yeah, kind of forgot about the stuff with the Rick in the basement.
I blame it on her mom.
Okay. Good point. And we've said it before. Sometimes we forget stuff as we're talking.
Absolutely.
Because I've shared before, because I listen to other podcasts and I do the same thing. And I'm like, but you guys said something different before. We're not being hypocritical. We just legit forget that we even had this conversation before. On it. No! Tammy, revised pick and a new one. Hold it.
Oh my. Did you get your man?
Hold on.
Is it just a
We're gonna wind up with another revised pick next week, though. I know, because hold on.
I'm waiting for her to just end up sending a picture of you and Valentine and being like, the rest of these people don't matter.
But it's you.
It is me. It is me. Yep.
But
Shannon would scratch my eyes out if that happened.
stop. But I didn't mean to actually share that one first. Hold on. How did I do that? Here we go. She changed it so that he's that I'm next to him now.
Yes.
But yeah, but then the other picture was you.
Yep. Very nice.
Oh, but that's cute. Thank you.
Stop showing
It's a
me.
good thing we're not in
pictures.
person today. Amanda. Hey. Thanks, Tammy. You're cute. And then I remembered we get comments on Spotify. So we don't always even get this email either. So I snoozed it because I was like, oh, yay. Let's let this pull up. On last Monday's episode, how does Curtis not remember seeing Valentine at the accident?
I feel like he does. He's just not ratting him out. Yeah, I think that's 100%. He's just not ratting him out. Because he helped. I mean, really? You're going to throw the guy under the bus that helped save her life? Because 5 seconds later, the car exploded.
Yeah, but still. He hasn't even mentioned it. We haven't even heard him talking to himself about it.
Do we know if he knows that Valentine... Did Carly get out of the car? Or she just dropped Valentine off?
He never saw Carly.
Okay, so who's he going to talk to about it? Not like he can go to Carly.
I said we've never even heard him like monologuing to himself about it.
We don't
But
get
that's the question.
Curtis talking to himself. Because if so, he should be talking about, I need to stop screaming at Isaiah because this is counterproductive. I'm going to lose rights to my baby.
No, but that's a really good point though. But like it hasn't even been
right. There hasn't been like
and we
a
haven't even
flashback.
seen the flashback. Right. Exactly.
Right. Or expecting to hear Jordan say, not saying you're not strong, honey. And I know adrenaline like gets to you in the moment, but how did you pull me out of that car and away in time by yourself? Like you were injured too. So, but I just assumed it was because he's not going to give up Valentine.
And then 6 days ago, love your pod. I haven't missed a single episode of GH since I've been watching since 1989. Started with my grandmother.
Yeah.
But I love both of your takes on storylines and love the delivery.
Aw, thanks.
Please keep serving up the GH realness. The only thing I can think of right now that needs to be on the canvas is where Lila Ray and Sky. Where is Lila Ray and Sky? Sorry.
Right.
She would have to be just the right age to fit in the college scene.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
And it is long past time for Emma's little brother to show up too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. And we definitely, so I think we have about a half dozen people that are interested in the Pizza Pinot in Port Charles. And I also forgot to include the pajamas part of it because it was actually the pajama part is what got us started on it.
Mm-hmm. Because you have those cute new PJs.
Like a Saturday night. Oh, no one knew that I was wearing my PJs that night. We didn't say that. I showed you that the other night.
But now that I've seen them, I understand because those were super cute.
So we will pick a Saturday in July and have it be our Pizza Pinot pajama in Port Charles party.
Awesome.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So many pickled peppers to Peter Piper pick. Close.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not drunk. I was just saying, I'm like, see, I'm not. So an actual from Tammy. Hello from camp. I'm so happy to see Anna back in the mix this week. Also, I had been missing the Metro Court pool. It usually shows up around Memorial Day, so I was starting to wonder about it. I think Nathan is playing Colum and is really loving Nathan's life. I feel like several storylines are coming to a head, and I think the next few weeks will be great. I agree. And then she sent us a picture of s'mores and of an inflatable. I'm going to go with that as a French bulldog.
Oh, okay.
With like an Uncle Sam hat on it. And it's cute.
Oh, cute.
Tammy, I'm not a dog person, but I also don't know my dog breeds very well.
I was waiting for you to say brands.
Brains. All right, so that is it for from our fans. And then we forgot to talk about I mostly just because I'm always the one that brings up the nerdy stuff, forgot to bring up the new gallery installation last week.
Yeah.
And oh, hey, did you know that Chad Duell released music?
Yes, I did know that.
Hey,
I have not listened, but yes.
I'm going to Instagram to get this information, and the very first thing that popped up is Chad Duell, DistroKid. Okay. I've wanted to make music for a long time. I just never did. It always felt like this huge, overwhelming thing to learn, all the technical side of it, programs, and everything that goes into actually building a track. It was easy to keep pushing off. A couple months ago, I finally just decided to go for it. Since then, I've been putting a lot of time into learning, experimenting, figuring things out, and slowly starting to find the sound I'm really proud of. The first release is more of a dance EDM vibe, but I've been working on a lot of different styles behind the scenes that I'm just as excited about. At some point, I realized I could keep holding on to everything to try to make it perfect, or I could just start putting music out and grow as I go. Yep.
Oh, nice.
So the new installation is called Insanely Alive. Okay. It is entirely dedicated to one of the directors, and those are all pictures of her.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it says, surprising one of our directors with a new, I'm just going to reshare it onto our thing. With a new installation at the Jerome Gallery dedicated entirely to her was worth it for, and then it has her handle there. It's DIDYVC's reaction alone. Shout out to the incredible Brent Myers for capturing her likeness on the canvas so beautifully. We love you. I'm going to say Didy, D-I-D-Y, Didy.
Yeah.
That sounds okay. And so on the show, it says that it's by Brent Von Masters, but his name is Brent Myers. So I think that's pretty darn cool.
That is super cool. Yeah, I had seen like that first one that you see whenever Ava's sitting at her desk, and then whenever they did the side, and I was like, I think that's the same girl, but I'm not sure that it's the same girl. And then I didn't get a clear enough shot of the other ones like, when I was paying attention.
So that is completely dedicated to one of their
Very cool
directors. And then we never talked about, so we released, when we recorded on June 13th, we said that we had not found out why Kate Mansi left. And then you sent me an article like within an hour of us.
Yep.
Do you want me to find it? Let me use my search feature.
Right? You find stuff faster than I do because mine doesn't work.
I do.
Like that.
Kate Mansi wrapped up her 3-year run as Kristina Corinthos on General Hospital on Friday, June 12th, as her character left Port Charles for medical school. She says the choice to step away from the ABC soap was not an easy one. It was such a difficult decision for me to make. She shares, I love Kristina and the family she's a part of. I love the family I've created at General Hospital, and working with Frank has been an incredible experience. With her husband, producer Matt McInnes, working abroad, however, Mansi needs flexibility in her schedule, so she let the powers that be know in advance she would not be signing a new deal. I knew my contract was up in April. I wanted to give them proper notice so that they could plan their future storytelling. She has to be with her husband.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's acceptable.
Fine. But I guess once her decision was final, though, she kept it to herself. The truth is, I was afraid to tell the people and feel sad talking about it. And then Nancy, Kristen, and Rory were the first people that she told because it affected her family. And she wanted to give them a heads up so they had time to process together. The one person she didn't tell was on-screen dad, Maurice Bernard. I couldn't bear telling Maurice in advance because we have such a close relationship. So I waited until our last episode, and it gave us such beautiful scenes together.
Those were beautiful scenes, but man, I would be a little upset if you didn't tell me and then you just left.
Yep. When he realized that she was exiting, the moment proved emotional for both actors. He was crying and asked me in rehearsal, is this it, kid? Are you really leaving? She shares, and I said, yes. And he gave me a big hug and we both cried. During the taping, it was very meaningful. It was a very meaningful, authentic reaction we both had saying goodbye to each other, which is what I really wanted because the father-daughter relationship for Kristina and Sonny and Maurice and me has been so unique and special, and it was really hard. And then it's just saying that like she brought donuts to the crew, and like I mean it's a great article. It's in peoplemagazine.com, people.com, whatever it is, tvinsider.com. I am so sorry. tvinsider.com. You know?
But that means she can come back. So that's
Right,
good.
right.
They didn't kill her. She didn't do something awful. She's going off to do something great. And so when her husband is done with whatever he needs to do, they'll come back to the States and she can
Yep.
pick up where she left off.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, go be a good wife.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that she's able to do that. So,
Right.
you know, there's a lot of people who couldn't. So
Absolutely.
we can be happy for her. We are, though.
We can be happy for her and mad for us.
Yes,
fair.
exactly. All right. So I think that's it. Do you have anything fun?
I do not.
Okay. I don't know why.
Because you have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy. We've talked about this before.
So this upcoming 411, we are having a fan spotlight. So that'll be fun.
That would be fun.
And then come July, we're doing Valentine. So for Hulu headlines, on Monday, Willow gets an unwelcome surprise. Trina sticks to her guns. On Tuesday, Dante cautions Liz. Laura learns a secret. On Wednesday, Anna meets with her doctor. Britt extracts a promise. On Thursday, Jocelyn clashes with Cassius. Whew.
Say that 5 times.
That's a hard one. Yeah. And Chase receives a warning. And on Friday, Anna takes a huge risk, and Britt is in grave danger. Where are starting?
I don't know what stuck out to me this week was Brook Lynn, and I'm not liking it. I'm just not there for it. I
No.
understand what she's doing 100% as
It's going to bite her.
yeah. She's being too nice whenever it comes to everything with Chase, and then having this side plan. And Lucy, I guess Lucy is what really made me angry. So we see Lucy, we'll start
I
there,
couldn't.
right? We see Lucy at the PCPD. She still has her little matching arm sling. Not doing a very good job of keeping her arm straight, though. Like, when she talks, she still is like, woo! Anyway, she gives her statement to the new Detective Joe guy and is like, hey, I've been following this, but it just struck me the other day that Willow Kane had been at the Quartermains, so if she was going back to the other estate, she would have been on the same route as the whole accident. And I just feel like it's my civic duty to tell you that maybe you should look into her because she also has a black car, because that's all anyone in Port Charles owns, and it also happens to be a
They're all
BMW.
black BMWs.
Because those are the only cars that they sell there. That one dealership must be popping.
I was just thinking, I'm like, why does Lucy not have like a connection there? I mean, she made sure to throw in there that she is a high-end real estate agent.
Yes.
And that's why she stays informed. Listen,
I'm gonna start
I don't stay
asking you for all
informed,
the
and
scoop.
I don't have the gossip. I don't have that kind of stuff.
I'm disappointed. You should be following up better so that you can have all the inside scoop. So Joe's like, all right, thank you for everything that you told me. We will see what's up. That, you did your civic duty, whatever. So she leaves and you're like, oh, that was messed up because she shouldn't be turning in someone that we know wasn't at the accident. But at the same time, look at that girl power. She's trying to help Brook Lynn out. That's wonderful. And then we see her
I
at the
don't think it's
Quartermain.
girl power, though, if you are lying and throwing.
I mean, they're like sticking together.
If you are not 100% certain.
Right.
To throw anybody. I'm not saying to throw another woman under the bus, but like to throw anybody under the bus.
Right. We shouldn't be making false
when you're not sure that they did it. Right.
But I do like that Lucy is recognizing Willow's man-stealing tendencies, and that's what she's trying to stop. Not saying her method is correct, but I do appreciate her going to Brook Lynn and being like, hey, listen, I've played those games before, and you need to watch this girl with your man. And that's what's fueling this deception, haha, if you will.
Oh, she did make sure to let Joe know. And I used to be married to Alan, and they also invested in my business. I'm
Right,
sure that
and
you know about Deception Cosmetics.
I'm there all the time because they just accepted me so much as part of the family. I'm like, no, but
Right.
okay. So she
He's
goes,
sitting there. I love his facial expressions, though, because he's sitting there like,
yeah,
and
right. Why do I have to listen to you? This is too much. I'm overwhelmed. Get to the point. So then she leaves there and she goes to the Quartermain mansion, and you're waiting, or at least I was waiting for her to be all, hey, I did this for you. Now she's going to leave Chase alone. It's going to give him the doubt that he needs. And she says all that. And then she's like, but, there's a price to pay for me helping you out. And Brooklyn's like, what are you talking about? You never asked me to pay you anything or to do you any favors. Like, this has come out of nowhere. And Lucy's like, no, you should have known that if I'm putting my name out there and I'm lying for you, that you should compensate me. And the best way to compensate me is to give me all of your shares in Deception. And Brooklyn's like,
Lucy's smarter than that. Like,
right? I'm sorry, way too much. So then they go back and forth. I think they finally negotiated on Lucy gets 51% and Brooklyn gets 49. I'm not even sure 100% that
well,
that's
it's because Tracy has 51%. So she has more ownership. And that was her big thing. She's like, I'm tired of Tracy having more of my company than I do. And she's like, I want my dignity back. Like I always feel like I'm having to fight Tracy, basically.
right.
But like she didn't think about the fact that like if Brooklyn wanted to give up her shares, that she wouldn't give them to her grandmother.
Exactly. And if you would have discussed this beforehand, I feel like, again, as friends, if she would have said, hey, this has nothing to do with that, but I'm really tired of feeling like I'm under your grandmother's thumb and that
Right.
I founded this company. Could I maybe buy whatever percentage more she needs to be equal or close to equal with Tracy off of you? And not made it such a, like, that was out and out just blackmail. Like, you're going to do this or I'm going to recant my
Mhm.
statement. And
I
so
think she's
Brooklyn,
getting, well, because she wanted all of them, and Brooklyn was like, I'll give you 10% of my shares.
mhm,
So it's like her, Maxie, and Lucy then split the other 49%.
mhm,
Because Tracy's still going to have 51%.
right,
It's just
right,
Lucy is then going to have the second. I don't know. I stopped, honestly. I was kind of zoning out because
right.
I
It's
was kind
just
of mad
so
about it.
so unfair. They they stopped at
They got
Lucy
to
was at,
75-25. Yeah.
but then they kept going and they ended up at 50-50, and then Lucy said 51. And then they
So she's
said,
getting
okay, that's
51% of
fine,
Brook
of
Lynn.
Brooklyn's, right. And at that moment is whenever she was like, okay, that's fine, that's all. But I was like, I don't know if she means that's all, like we're done negotiating, I'm not doing this, or if that's all, like I'm not going any higher than this. And then Michael walks in and is like, what is going on? And Lucy's like, okay, ta-ta for now, and goes right back to her normal, this is how we always are. And I was, no. And then we see Brooklyn sit down with Michael and explain everything, which I
Mhm.
didn't think was a good idea because he shouldn't be involved in this. He shouldn't know about what happened.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's going to help your custody case and it's going to do that. And then you thought for a second that maybe he knew something was up because he was like, wasn't this going to hurt you too? And she's
Yep.
like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, if it comes back that you set it all up and that there's no truth to it, then you're going to look like you were setting her up. That's not okay. And she was like, I just need to cast enough doubt that Chase doesn't believe her, which is stupid because Chase would believe her no matter what. Like, you
Mhm.
could have God himself come down and be like, I saw Willow do this. And Chase would still be like, no, Willow said she
No.
didn't. So nothing that you do is going to change that. And then later on, we see her at the pool with Phoebe and she's showing her, like, here's the water, here's this. And that's that mean lady that's trying to steal your daddy. And then
Mhm.
she's talking all nice to Chase whenever he does come over to see them. And he needs to go check on Willow because they're questioning her about was she there or not. We'll get into that in a minute. But the whole time, Brooklyn's just like, go ahead. If you need to check on her, I understand. Well, you should probably go down to the police station to make sure everything's okay. Girl, what are you doing?
Especially after he had just come from basically having a truce with Tracy and saying, I told your grandmother. Like, do we just want to talk about that real quick? Okay, so real quick, just to finish Brook Lynn and Michael, he also mentioned about how high and mighty Chase is. And yes, he is a good guy and
Mhm.
all of that. But he also has a high expectation
Right.
and said, like, how do you think your daughter's going to feel growing up in a house questioning if she's always pleasing her father?
Mhm.
And he was like, you shouldn't have to fight this hard to keep your husband away
Right.
from his ex-wife
Yep.
and my ex-wife that I took from him.
Everybody's ex-wife.
So,
Yeah.
but we didn't see, yes, we did, because it was Chase was singing to Phoebe earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And I guess Brook Lynn came out and he's like, yeah, Phoebe and I were just discussing, giving Tracy a break. And in 40 years, she's going to bring home someone that she loves. And Brook Lynn's like, 40 years. He's like, well, yeah, she's focusing on her career first. And Brook Lynn's like, oh, what would that be? And he said that she's either going to be a point guard for the New York Liberty, which is the women's basketball team,
Mhm.
or a Supreme Court justice, or both.
There you go.
And either way, they will back either decision. And he'll be running background checks and ordering PIs to check to make sure she doesn't get her heart broken. So he can kind of see where Tracy's coming from with being so protective of Brook Lynn.
Mhm.
And there is no age requirement to be a Supreme Court justice,
Oh, okay.
which I was kind of surprised at. The youngest was Joseph Story. He was the youngest justice of Joseph Story was the youngest justice ever appointed, joining the court in 1812 at just 32 years old.
Wow. Okay.
However, modern nominees are usually in their 40s or 50s to ensure that they have enough high-level legal experience before serving. To be fair, in 1812, the guy probably had already been working for 10 years in law.
Right. And he only had
And
10
he
more
was going to
years
be
to
dead
live.
in 5 years anyway. So, sorry, I don't mean that to be so crass. But I just thought that was so cute. And then he did go up to Tracy later in the week and was like, listen, I know you're protecting Brook Lynn. This isn't going to work out if you and I don't reach. And she basically said the same thing that you just said with you are spending way too much time focusing on Willow that you should be. And he's like, Brook Lynn and Phoebe are my priority. And she's like, but where are you spending your time?
Mhm.
And he's like, well, I just turned down that job that Tracy didn't know about.
Right.
And, she called him out and she's like, you are giving Willow attention that needs to be going to your family. And did you give Willow this much attention when she was married to Michael?
Mhm.
Nope. And then that's when he joined them at the pool and was like, your mom, your grandma and I just had a great conversation. I'm going to really work on focusing and not getting distracted. And they talked about going to Seattle to see Finn and Violet. And I guess Brook Lynn sends Violet photos all the time and she loses her mind or whatever. And she showed her big brother.
Mhm.
And Gio was yelling at Bruce for roughhousing around the pool. We don't know who Bruce is, but. And then that's when Fitzpatrick came in and, oh crap, we need to get there.
Yeah.
Pause.
Right? Pause. We'll get there.
Still in those.
Yeah. I was just really disappointed that she keeps pushing him. That's not the way to handle it.
And it's not going to work out well because she did the whole thing with Bailey Lou, with Valentine and Maxie. But she also had Valentine and Maxie assisting in the thought process. She is not a mastermind.
No.
Carly guided her when it was coming to seducing Dante.
Right.
It was, she might be good at going along with it, but she's not good at, if she had talked to Tracy about this and Tracy were doing it, she would be following Tracy's orders.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that she's
No.
but she does not think this way. So she is going to trip herself up.
Right, exactly. And what happened with Lucy is evidence of that. She didn't see that coming. So
Nope. Well, she called Lucy out on that, though, and she's like, so you did something as a businesswoman without negotiating the terms first?
Mm-hmm. Very
No,
smart.
that's not how that works.
Right.
So where do we go back to start filling in? We probably have to go way back to, it was probably Monday when, so Willow tells Drew that today's caregiver is going to be Travis. That is the only one we have heard about. Who else is there?
I don't know.
But, okay, where was Sidwell coming from?
No idea.
In both scenes, he literally just walked off stage, like walked on stage, right? Because suddenly he just walks in from the left.
Well, they did say the first time that he came in through the back door because she
Okay.
said to him, how did you even get in here? And he said, the same way you got in here the day that you shot Drew. I just walked in the back door.
Okay.
So that time was explained. But the other time, yeah, it was like he was just hanging out in a back room. I mean, that's like
Right.
we saw.
Why wasn't he in the closet?
Right. We saw Joe talking to Drew and then Joe leaves and Sidwell walks right out. But you didn't hear a closet open. You didn't see him like he was hiding in the bathroom or something like that. He's
He wasn't
just like,
hiding on the other side of the bed.
right.
Yeah.
No, it was ridiculous.
So he wants to hide out at Drew's house. And she's like, I have kids, we have nannies, we have staff, there's nurses. And he said that he has invested years of his life in this project and he's not letting his partner reap all the benefits.
Mhm.
And then I guess the problem now with Drew's medication is that he has basically built a tolerance to it. So, although I thought it was supposed to not have any problems, but whatever.
Right.
Essentially, he's going through the dosage quicker because it's wearing off quicker because his body's getting used to it, blah, 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 blah. So then we see Joe had talked to Turn. No, not yet. He took it upon himself. Chase went there first while Sidwell was there. And that's when Sidwell went and hid the first time.
Right. Because Chase was coming to announce that he was not taking the job officially.
Yep. And then Joe showed up a little bit later and wanted to talk to Willow about being on Route 91 that night, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Chase took her aside and talked to her. And then suddenly they were talking while Joe asked if he could use the restroom, which seriously,
Right.
like,
Well, he
you
had already.
show them where the bathroom is.
Yeah. Chase had already said he needed to talk to her alone. And so Joe made it seem like he
Yes.
was being kind and taking that opportunity to go use the restroom. And by the time he got back, they should be done talking.
And instead he found Drew. Well, not instead. I mean, we know he was looking for somebody other than the
Right.
bathroom. And so he talked directly to Drew and was like, I understand you can blink. Is that correct? You know? And so he asked a couple questions and ultimately the one he asked was your wife on Route 9? Like, was she home that night?
Mm-hmm.
Drew was like, no. And could she have been on Route 91? And he said yes. And so then Willow and Chase come into the room and see
didn't
him
ask-
talking to him.
He didn't ask, could your wife have been? He asked, was on.
Yes, he did. He said very yes. And then after, wait, did they walk in on Joe? Willow walked in on Sidwell talking to Drew.
They walked in
They
on.
walked in on
Yeah,
Joe.
they did because they were like, what are you doing? I thought you were looking for the bathroom. It was him and Chase. And
he
then
said,
they
I just
all
wanted to,
walked back out. Yeah. He said, I
yeah.
got turned
And he's like, I
around.
just wanted to introduce myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I opened the door and he was there. I'm going to say hello to, you know, the human
Right.
that is sitting in the chair. And then that's when Sidwell just waltzed on stage from nowhere.
Yep.
And Willow refused to even check. She's like, oh, I don't know. I don't remember. And he's like, you can't even just check your phone calendar. And that's when she was very adamant that she needed to have any requests regarding that night sent to her office in writing.
Yep. But she like messed herself up there because she said that. And then we did see at the same time Sidwell went into the room and asked, he basically said to Drew, "What did you say? Because I couldn't see the way that you blinked your eyes. Was that a yes or a no? Tell me what's up." And it was like, he obviously can't tell you too much information. But
Well, he
then,
asked, "Are you framing Willow?" And I don't think Drew blinked at all. Like, I don't think that
right.
he answered him one way or another.
hmm but then we see Joe go and tell Turner about what he has discovered because Lucy had said this and he talked to her and Drew said this. So he asked, like, "Do you think I can get a warrant based on a blink?" And she was like, "What are you talking about?" So he explained everything. And so then we see him show up to talk to Willow at the pool whenever
Hmm.
Chase gets pulled away from it because he has to defend her or whatever. And he's like, "Okay, I need to ask you questions." And she says, "I thought you were going to submit these to my office." And he says, "No, I would just need to know some stuff. You come down to the PCPD with me." And she's like, "I wasn't even on that road. I was nowhere near that road." Why didn't he say, "Well, how come you remember that now?" Because when I asked you back at your house, you said, "I have no idea where I am ever. I have to check with my assistant because I'm just so busy."
Right?
So
Yeah.
that would make you suspicious right there. You didn't know to say that half an hour ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then she saw that someone was recording their interaction. And so even though Curtis was like, "You don't have to do
Well,
this,"
and that's the thing. She was sitting there with Curtis, and for a second, it looked like something was registering with Curtis. Like, oh, gee, it could be someone other than Isaiah.
right? But no, that was false hope. So she says, It is better that we go handle this at the station." And so she leaves with him. And then Chase, that's whenever Chase is still like totally distracted by what him and Willow were, or him and Brooklyn were talking about. And Brooklyn's like, "Just go. She's going to need your help." And he's like, "Okay, bye. See ya." And I'm like, "No, you shouldn't be
Yeah.
that excited. What are you doing? This is ridiculous." And then Isaiah comes and confronts Curtis and says just that, like, "Oh, are you finally realizing it could be someone else?" And Curtis is like, "Nope, you're the only person that had a car repair done, so it had to have been you." And so then Isaiah steps over to Brook Lynn and is like, "Not trying to ask you to, betray any confidence with your husband's professionalism and all that stuff, but do you know what's going on?" And she was like, "I don't know. Willow left with them, but she wasn't in handcuffs, so
Yeah.
don't know what else to tell you other than my husband will be there like a puppy dog at her side."
Right.
Ridiculous. Mm.
But I guess Isaiah's now going to go after him for slander.
Yeah. I hate
I mean,
that
that makes
line
sense.
though, where he's like, "Are you threatening?" Curtis is like, "Are you threatening me?" And Isaiah's like, "It's not a threat, it's a promise." Would you just shut
Right.
up?
Like, come on.
You actually have to say that. Like, come
You
on.
know, one of the men wrote that line.
Right? So dumb.
Sorry, guys.
So dumb. And then we see, I guess I'll just continue on with that storyline. So then we see Willow at the PCPD and she's saying to Turner the same thing, like, "I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know why I'm here. They're not going to find anything." And then you see Joe at the desk saying, "Hurry up. I need the diagnostics on her tripometer or where she was going," or whatever the heck it's called. I don't know what actually, like, can you actually track every single, like, that's crazy. I know it tells me how many miles I've gone and stuff. I didn't realize someone can like pull
The
my whole
GPS
driving
tracks you.
history.
The GPS in the car tracks.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I never
Yep.
thought of someone pulling it.
You need to watch more court TV.
I'm not planning any murders. If I get too much information,
I'm
I'm
not
gonna be
either.
dangerous. Okay?
It's research for the show. No.
It's
But-
good to have a healthy fear of what might happen. So I shouldn't know too much. No. So yeah, he says he's gonna pull whatever the information, however he does that. And she says again, like, "I'm still not sure what you're looking for because I wasn't anywhere close to that. Like, can you at least," she says to Turner, "can you at least tell me who said what to you? Because I don't know where this is coming from." And Turner's like, "Lucy Coe." And she's like, "Oh yeah, because that's a reliable source." And then she's
Right.
like, "And your husband Drew." And she's like, "What? How?" So then Chase comes in and is like, "What
Which is
happened?"
kind of, I wish Turner had thought about that though, because she shot him.
Right. And even if you don't know, you know that she is the caregiver. So like if she is dangerous, if you didn't know it with the shooting, but you do think it as far as whatever else has happened, although again, we've talked about how we disagree that this whole car thing should even be a thing because people don't always look in their mirror, but whatever. You're assuming then that Willow is dangerous and that she would hurt people, and you're now telling her that the person that she's a caregiver for that cannot speak is who turned her in.
Yep.
Okay.
Without protecting him, without saying, or like, and that's the thing that they should have done is remove him from the home. Protect him.
Anything to keep her
Who
away.
knew a year later we were going to feel this way about Drew? But it's also just because of what they're doing because of his condition that it's.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Once Drew's back to normal, I'm not going to be voting for anyone.
Well, I don't think he's going to come back the same way that he went out.
We'll see.
I'm really hoping that this is a learning experience for him.
I don't have that much faith in him, but you always like to have faith in people that I don't. So we'll continue to let it play out that way. Shannon is forever hopeful and I am not. So she says, tell me who, and Turner tells her. And then Chase comes in and is like, why are you here? What's happening? And she says, well, somehow they misunderstood because they asked Drew a question, but they must have not realized what the blinks meant because somehow he said that I could have been there and I wasn't there. And he was like, well, did they read you your rights? And she's like, no. And he says, okay, well, then you're not under arrest, so we can leave. And they go to walk out. And that's whenever Nina shows up, which we'll get to what she was doing beforehand in a minute, but she shows up to help. And they're like, no, we're leaving. And with that, Turner's like, excuse me, not so fast. We just got the results back of your GPS, whatever. And you were there within minutes of when this crash happened. So it could absolutely be you. And she just kind of stands there stunned, like, how did this happen?
Yep.
And it's all her whole theory is that Turner is setting her up because she doesn't like that she was not able to find her guilty for shooting Michael.
And that's Chase's theory too.
It is Chase's theory. But Chase, again, got himself in trouble and Turner is totally clocking that.
Again.
He's like, Joe's like, well, I got there to question her. And Chase was there and told her, oh, no, you don't have to answer anything. And now here we are at the precinct and Chase comes in and is like, well, they didn't read you your rights. So.
Yep.
Is that what we're going to do? We're going to make Chase lose his job so then he has to go work for Willow, even though he made the right decision first?
Oh. No.
Turner's going to fire him and then he's going to be like,
well, Turner can't fire him. Dante.
Well,
who's the commissioner right now?
I don't know. Dante's gone for how long? All of the commissioners are MIA. I'm not sure who's in charge, but whomever is in charge is going to be persuaded by her that they need to fire Chase because he is not listening. And then he's going to go home and be like, guess I have to go work for Willow because that's the only other position that's available in the whole world. And I lost my job through no fault of my own and definitely not Willow's fault.
I don't like it.
I don't either, because Brook Lynn is just going to sit there again and be like, if that's what you think needs to happen. No. I don't like seeing her this week. I understand doing anything to save your marriage. Been there, done that. You do things that you would not ever normally do. But Brook Lynn has always been a strong character. I mean, that's how we saw her and Chase, like, getting together with the beer bottles and all that stuff and her sticking up for herself. So to see her now just being like, whatever you need to do to walk all over me, as long as it means that we're married and we can adopt this baby, is disgusting.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Where are we going? Or what made you angry this week? Because I was just mad about all of it.
It's a quick one. Trina talking with Curtis and Portia only really took up Monday. It was her clarifying. And she's like, I've frozen you guys out before and it was a mistake.
Nope.
No, it wasn't.
No, boundaries.
The reason you're doing this now is because nothing changed and you just kept looking the other way. And so she doesn't want to do it again, but she wants to be clear about her feelings. And then they start apologizing because they're like, well, we just had this great conversation. And they acknowledge that she and Stella made this beautiful party and that they both made it about them instead of the baby, which they did say about the baby instead of about Portia. And They aren't going to talk about the accident anymore. They're going to move forward with civility. Trina's like, I'm so happy you guys are being adults.
Right.
And Portia said that they're going to focus on their relationship with her and the baby. And then Curtis seriously says, our independent relationships with you. No, you also still need to focus on your relationship with each other and how that's going to look with your kids. And Trina's,
Especially with the fact that it is a new baby. It is one thing if they still only had Trina. Okay, other than, her graduation from college or her wedding or other big life events, they absolutely can act independently of each other
right.
very,
Yeah.
very easily. But a new baby, there has to be boundaries. I understand. That's where I was when I had Madeline of like, we're not together, but this needs to happen. But you cannot be 100% separate on everything all the time with a
Right.
newborn. Like, that's just not going to happen. There needs to be conversations. And if you try to put Trina in the middle of those conversations because you guys can't co-parent correctly, it's going to blow up in your face even more.
Yep. And she said, putting you guys, she wants less attention from them and
Mhm.
putting their needs before hers has been damaging her. And they're like, is there anything we can do to help? And she's like, I just want distance. And then Portia does the thing that the parents do all the time and takes it like to the extreme. Well, can I call you when I'm having your baby brother or sister?
Mhm.
Yes. She asked for distance
Right.
and to quit putting the attention on her. So yes, please tell me that the baby that I just threw a baby shower for is on its way.
Yeah.
But she said she doesn't want to see them before that.
Mhm. I mean,
And
Portia is due any day now.
she loves them. And then that's it. And so after she leaves, Portia asks Curtis, so are we going to do better with this baby? And he says they absolutely have to. Like that erases anything that they just did to Trina.
And I was, though, proud of Curtis for not saying, well, considering I wasn't involved in Trina's life for the first 20 years, I really can't do any worse than what I did for those beginning 20 years. Thanks
Yes.
to you who didn't tell me you had my baby.
So yeah, I was happy with that.
I was happy that
With
Trina stood up for
yeah,
herself, but I
with that.
still just
Not
think,
with the
yeah, the whole thing is ridiculous. And I don't understand. Curtis is a jerk at moments that I don't understand why he's being a jerk. But then the
Mhm.
moments that he, in my opinion, not should be, but I would be tempted to be a jerk, he's not. Like with that case of her saying, we're not, we're going to do better. Well, we won't scar the kid like we did Trina by announcing 20 years from now that I'm not her dad. So at least we have a DNA test early on
right.
this time or something like that. But then he's going to stand and argue with Isaiah in the Metro court again over something that you don't even know happened.
The same thing.
Right?
Again.
So that we can make threats like that. It's not a threat, it's
Yeah.
a promise.
I mean, I don't like that this is the point where they got to, but
Right.
I'm glad that Trina's putting her foot down.
Right.
And I hope that they grow up
That would be
and get
nice.
some maturity lessons from their daughter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point,
And
that
realize,
baby's more
gee,
mature than them.
right? The baby's going to come out and be like, are you guys done yet?
Right. I heard all that fighting whenever I was still in utero. Can you stop now?
Right. Let's see if there's any other like little one-off. There's not really. Everything else pretty much ties together to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to go like the Rocco Britt or the Anna?
I vote Anna because I feel like you'll be more
Oh,
excited in that one.
there is one. There is one. I'm so sorry. Ava and Ethan going to see Sunny.
Mm.
That was kind of like a little, it progressed there because it talks about Sidwell, but she refused to go with him. And he's like, well, do you want to walk out of here like a lady or over my shoulder with your bummy in the air? But she said, I'm keeping your secret. So when Sunny, not if, when he
Right.
starts to get over the top, I need you to run interference and at least, try to get him to back off a little bit and that she's helping the baby and not him. And she was getting super flirty with him. And I could not tell if it was the actor or the character that was blushing at her walking out that door. Because I forget what it was that she said, but he just like,
Wasn't ready for it.
nope, nope. But, and then Sunny questioned her, and Ethan said, no, she's really just selling stuff to Sidwell. I misread the situation. And then Sunny knows all of her information, exactly how much she's making.
She made a boatload. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And he says that he knows because it impacts their daughter. And she said, as far as I know, the only property he owns are the piers and Spoon Island. And also, she's not in real estate. And she knows that Sidwell has to still be here because that's the thing that she said. She's like, I don't know where he is, but he's definitely still around because of Marco, because, he is adamant he needs to find the person that killed Rocco. So,
Right. Kill Rocco?
God, Marco. But she says that Sidwell is his problems and not hers. And Avery hasn't even met him or anything. And then after she leaves there, Sunny questions Ethan why he was so quick to protect Ava.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethan just kind of said, like I just said, he's like, I just misread a couple of the situations. I thought they were doing this. And, that's just Ava being Ava. So.
Right. He didn't really know Ava that well. So
Mm-mm.
it takes time. Oh,
Yep.
another thing that kind of really didn't go anywhere, but I'm assuming will lead somewhere in the next week or so, was Carly's house. Lucas coming to Carly's house.
I
And
love them.
they're so cute. They're so cute. And he's like, I wasn't sure if you were going to hug me or punch me. And she was like, well, I wasn't really sure what to do, but why did you put yourself in that situation? And then she explains to him, um, that she's going to go to Column because of everything that's going on. And he's like, no, 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 you can't go to Column, but I don't understand why Joss is so involved. And she's like, oh yeah, by the way, your niece is a WSB agent. And so they just
Yep.
give each other like all the deeds and kind of fill in the blanks that both of them had as far as what these people are really up to and what's going on. And then she says that she wants to go to Windermere so that she can let Joss out. And he's like, no, we're not going there right now. There's still too much going on and stuff, but I will go with you and we will see if we can find Joss tomorrow. So,
Well, because he put two and two together because she said, well, so he tells her that Cullum killed Marco. And she says, well, so somebody showed up and it's the only person in like the whole wide world that would have been able to help me. And he's just sitting there like, and you could see like he's going through the names in his head, like, okay, who is it?
right.
And she's like, Valentine. And then he didn't get it originally. And then it was like a couple sentences later, he's like, he's who you're with now. And she's like, yeah. But then he said, you have to give Valentine time to do what he said that he was going to do. And if we don't hear anything by this time tomorrow, then we will go get Joss. But
Right.
Thanks. All right, so let's just stick with the Sidwell stuff then with... Okay, hold on.
You want to jump to
I guess-
Joss and Cassius then?
Yeah, I guess we could do that, yeah.
So, yeah, we just see Joss working out. And I did wonder, like, I didn't think about what time it would have been. And so I was like, where's Obrecht out that she lived with that? Obrecht at that Joss is just like working out here and looking at this and doing that and whatever. And then Cassius comes in and explains to her that, again, if he wanted her dead, she would be dead, and that he does care about everyone. And she calls him out on everything and is like, your mom's working her butt off because she wants to help you, but this is not going to help in the whole scheme of things. And if you really cared, you would give me a gun so that I could protect myself because these people keep coming in here and I know my time's running out. And then you're playing out these games with James. How is he going to feel when this is all said and done? And you leave again, he's not going to understand. And he was like, yeah, I can't give you a gun because I just don't trust you enough still. But
Right.
I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to keep you safe, and makes all those same promises that I don't think he can keep because now Cullum is on to him for the fact that he saw him steal Britt's med, and then Cullum said to, I don't know who that guy is. He's just another
He still
WFP
doesn't have a
agent?
name.
Okay.
I think he's
So-
WSB because then the other guy that showed up later in the week, I believe, but there's obviously a dirty ring in the WSB.
Right. So he says to whoever this other guy is, normally I'd make up a name like Joe, but now we have a Joe, so I can't say Joe. So this random guy,
Yeah.
and is like, Cassius fell right into my trap. Now I know what side he's on because the medicine was not medicine, it was poison. And that they followed Cassius the only where, like, they thought Cassius was going to run to Britt. And they said that whenever he got to the mainland, all he did was go to the post office and then he went to see James at the pool.
And he can hold his breath for 64 seconds underwater.
But he should have been yelling at James because James was like, oh, the lifeguard's not looking. I'm going to go do a cannonball. That water is way too shallow. Someone is going to get hurt.
It's supposed to be deep.
I know it's supposed to be deep, but it's not.
Supposed to be like a 10-foot pool.
If the
Like, it's
rule
supposed to be.
if the rule is no cannonballs, then as a dad, you should not be like, oh yeah, they're not looking. Go ahead. You should
I
be
agree.
saying no.
But he's the fun dad.
Aren't they all? Anyway.
No, I agree. But it is supposed to be
It is,
a
but it's
full
so ridiculous.
standard
Because they
public
keep
pool.
showing that angle where you can see that it's like this deep. Like,
I know he and Emma were playing Marco Polo.
oh, right. And Emma's like, I'm just like sliding along because the pool is 4 feet deep.
Getting some rug burn on my thighs.
Right.
And she's tiny. So earlier in the week, though, is where we had left off, where we were not sure because you had asked me at the end of last week if I thought that he was going to tell them the real place. And he did.
Yeah, he did. That was good.
But he would not say who gave him the information, which I love. And he's like, you're a journalist. You know that you can't give up your sources.
And she's like, I only talk about cheese. There are no sources.
And then Dante's like, well, why didn't you go get Britt and bring Rocco back? You don't get this both ways, dude. You do not get this both ways. You don't. No.
Yep.
So then Dante did bring up, though, what your point, are you just going to send us on a wild goose chase or whatever? And then Lulu was like, oh, you're protecting Britt from us. And he's like, can you guys just leave my sister alone for a minute and go get your son?
Right. I'm trying to help you. Go.
Right. Like, get over it. Move beyond it. Everyone in the world has said, and I think I said this last week too, is that, or did I hold on. Did Lulu talk to Laura this week?
Yes. Because that was why she explained why she was leaving.
So, and Nathan reminded them that, don't forget, I'm the one who actually saved your son and got him out of there so that he was not killed. So then Charlotte is going to stay with Laura, and Lulu won't tell Laura all the details and everything, but they're not going to be bringing Rocco home because it's not safe. And she says, please don't even tell Kevin, and that Jason was covering for Rocco and Charlotte was overhearing in the room. And then they talk about Colum overhearing, or like they think that Colum's onto them. And the thing that is really frustrating is that we know that Lulu overheard Liz and Dante talking about how much Britt was trying to push Rocco away, about how she was trying to protect him, about all those things. And now Lulu is still playing the victim, acting like that stuff didn't happen, right?
Right.
That's the frustrating part is, no, you know that this woman who did not kidnap your son. I can see why some people think it's kidnapping because he is still a minor.
Right.
Right. However, his life is in danger.
Right.
If she was just going on vacation and he showed up at the airport and was like, I want to come with you, and she said, sure, let's go. Yes, absolutely would agree. In a life and death situation, though, I'm going to go with it's not kidnapping. It's she is someone who knows how to keep this kid safe. Yep. Much better than her parents who just keep fighting with each other, or his parents who just keep fighting with each other, and blah, 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 blah. But so then Charlotte gives Lulu a necklace, and then she goes and tells Danny. It was just heartbreaking, though, because Danny's getting angry And he knows that she's right, though. Like, he knows that she's
He
saying.
does. Right.
She
Jason
straight
doesn't
tell us
do anything.
Cullum shot, or Rocco shot Cullum, and your dad is protecting him, and he chose this.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, if you put a target on Rocco's back, like, I'm not going to look at you the same way, and you will be nothing.
Right.
So there were 3 books behind Charlotte's. So the first one was Star Trek Federation, which we've already discussed, because I don't know if it's the same book that was on the coffee table a couple of years ago, but that's because Jeannie Francis's husband is on Star Trek. And then there's Pinpoint by Greg Milner, and this is about GPS. And it's over the last 50 years, humanity has developed an extraordinary shared utility, the global positioning system. Even as it guides us across town, GPS helps land planes, route mobile calls, anticipate earthquakes, predict weather, locate oil deposits, grow our food, and even regulate global finance. And it basically just goes into how GPS has taken over our life. The other book is General Homicide, which was written by Kevin on Port Charles. But it's not a real book.
Right.
But they have Kevin Collins' book
That was
on their
very
shelf.
cool.
That's what caught my eye. Because I was like, wait a second, does that say General Homicide? And then I remember, because we talked about that, and then that's how we wound up talking about that we should talk about Kevin. But then we decided to wait until he comes back.
Right.
So meanwhile, Dante went to Liz and said that they're going to get Rocco and that he hopes he can repay her someday. That they're going to go into hiding until Cullum is gone. And he says to call Rick if anyone goes to her asking questions.
Yes.
They're so cute, though. He's definitely getting flirty with her. He's like, there's this nurse that I really respect, and she tells me this guy has gotten better, and I'm just going to believe her.
I agree, but now that we're putting Lulu on the run, are we going to start that all up again?
No. I know you said that a couple weeks ago that they're going to Luke and Laura them. No. But it turns out that Britt thought that she had food poisoning.
Yes.
And so that explains the stuff that she sent Rocco to get. And then she talks about how she wants him to leave and she doesn't want him to watch her die. And it was also heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Until she comes back like a day or two later and Dante and Lulu are waiting for her.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it because I just...
You just give up. You can't. Alrighty.
I can't.
So she opens up the door and there is Dante, and then she turns around like, maybe I'm going to run away. And there's Lulu. And so they're like, where's our son? And she's like, I'll tell you if you promise that you're going to keep him safe because you weren't doing what you needed to do. And then they all have to fight about how she's not his mom, even though she carried him, and say mean things to each other back and forth. Like it was just ridiculous. If there was someone
the same mean things, just like the Curtis and Isaiah stuff. It's like, okay, guys, we have now said this 20 bajillion times.
Yes. And if there really was like a bad guy on our tail that was going to kill us, you've just wasted plenty of time. They're like in their Uber at your door now because you've taken so long.
Right. They should have said, okay, we found you. Let's go because you guys are in trouble.
Right. Exactly. Like, and if, again, they even did say it, if we could find you, that means Cullum's guys could find you. Right. So let's act with a sense of urgency and move along instead of just standing here having the same conversations.
Fight on the plane.
Right. But eventually
we're going to drop you off somewhere else and we're going to go somewhere else.
Right. Or we could even go to the same airport. You just need to fly to a different destination than us.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, no, they need to privately have this fight. So let's at least get her out on the same plane, and then they're going to drop her off somewhere, and then they're going to continue on somewhere else.
But they could have fought in the car on the way to the airport.
Yeah, that's true.
Could get it done.
That is true.
So yeah, they decide, or they ask about let's go, whatever. And then Rocco's like, well, I can't just leave her. She's going to die. And I don't want her to be alone. And she did carry me. And I love her. And that was sweet. That was like very aw. And Lulu's just standing there like, but she's not your real mom. And then he says, well,
Rocco knows that.
Right.
Like that's.
He does. He
I feel like either of us saying to our kids, like, you can't love JD or Ryan.
Right.
It's not the same thing, guys. Please do not write in the emails that it is not the same thing. I do know that they are different people in our kids' lives than Britt is too. But you cannot tell him that this person who brought him into the world is not worthy of his love.
Right. Especially whenever Britt is saying to him, and she does go on to say, so he says, I don't want to leave her. I love her, whatever. And then Lulu was smart, finally, once in her life. She was smart and was like, well, I'm not going to say no. We'll leave it up to Britt. What
Only
does she
once in her life in the past 4 years.
Right. Exactly. Since she's come
Or
back
2
from
years,
the coma.
however long it's been.
2 years, I think. She was in the coma for 4. She's been out for
Yes,
2.5, I
yes.
think. Anyway, and Britt's like, no, I don't want to go with you. That's not safe, but I need you to promise you'll take care of yourself. So they have this whole conversation about taking care of themselves. And he says, you have to promise that you're not going to stay here and just wait for them. You need to go on the run yourself and whatever. And then she talks about how it's silly to say, but having him really changed her life and made her think outside of just herself. And so then he goes to leave and she stops him and gives him a thing of bubbles.
That was weird.
No. Thank you. I thought you were going to be like, oh, no, I thought that was weird.
No, that was weird. All babies, I mean, okay, but that was her only. I thought it was a little weird.
Because they've talked about it so many times, like it matters what his first food was. Like that was one of his questions and whatever. So if she would have seen, what did they say? His peas?
Avocado.
Avocado. So if she would have been like, I saw this stuffed avocado.
Right.
This is for you. I would have been like, oh, okay, that's sweet. See, but a jar of regular blowing bubbles to equate to a baby blowing milk bubble? No. Like you didn't have him through toddlerhood that you were blowing bubbles with him. I just didn't understand it, but whatever.
Like oh my gosh, do you remember? Did you do that as a kid? Do kids still blow bubbles in their milk through a straw? Do you not blow bubbles in your milk?
Probably depends on what kid you're talking to and like when. Matthew did. I know Matthew did because he was obsessed with chocolate milk well beyond the speak up years. And so he would blow bubbles in his chocolate milk.
Like you have a straw, you have like your glass, and then you're blowing bubbles and it comes up to the top and you're like, how much above the rim can I get it to go before it like falls over? Yep. You didn't do that? Amanda's too cool for us milk blowers. I'm going to ask Jamie to bring me some wine.
I would like him to get you some chocolate milk because I want to see you reenact the how far can I get the bubbles? What? No, I didn't get there was a song that went with it. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know if I blew milk bubbles or not as a child.
So you obviously
didn't
do it as not an older child. Oh, that's right. You don't like healthy stuff. I'm sorry.
I just hate
milk and water. Yeah.
Well, the only use for milk is if you have Oreos or chocolate chip cookies or blueberry muffins.
What about cereal?
Else? Well, yeah, cereal. But I don't drink the milk unless it's Count Chocula milk. Anything else, it's still too milky.
I just like milk because it does your body good.
That's why you have healthy bones. I probably won't because I don't like milk. And I was never made to drink it. Like my family was not. I don't know. Anyway.
Can you blow bubbles in Dr. Pepper?
I'm sure you can.
I mean, ones that bubble up but.
I mean, I didn't drink Dr. Pepper as a kid, so I don't know. It hasn't been a lifelong addiction. So I'm not sure. Now that we know my whole history of what I have and haven't. But Matt blew bubbles. Emily blew bubbles. I'm assuming that Megan and Madeline did too, but I don't actually know one way or the other. But those do not equate to blowing bubbles with regular bubbles. Those are not bubbles. Those are milk, whatever. And she was talking about him like as a baby because she only had him till 7 months old. So babies blow milk bubbles because they just like get stuck on their lips. It's not intentional.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. I would have been all for the stuffed avocado, not for the blowing bubbles. But anyway, he leaves. And he's like staring at this bottle of bubbles like it means something. And he then says, Lulu asks, like, are you okay? And he's like, no. And then she looks at Dante and you're like, oh, geez, why are they looking at each other? And at that minute, then it flips to Britt and you see her almost inject herself with what we know is poison as the doors get busted in and it's the police and she's under arrest for kidnapping. So.
Yep. I didn't like that.
I didn't like that either.
Like, they could have just let it go
They could have.
because he had just said, I'm not going to forgive you guys. And so guess what
Right.
they just did?
Right. And especially because we even had the whole conversation when they were going back and forth with Britt that Dante like called her out and was like, well, you're working with them for some reason, but it's obvious that you don't want to be. Okay. So you're sending her back
Right.
there, assuming that a judge does see all sides of it. Like, no, I took him. He wanted to go with me. He was in danger. They're not going to hold her in a jail. So she's going to end up right back working for them anyway. It didn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
if Lulu feels justified, then it makes sense. So she's happy. That's all that matters. It'll be a good news story for her to write whenever she does get back home.
Here's how I saved the world
Right?
while ruining my son's life and breaking his heart.
My precious
Maybe
baby.
ruining his life is stretching it, but at this point in his life, he's going to be devastated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, that doesn't really take us anywhere except for we already talked about Danny being told by Charlotte about everything. And so then we see Danny at the PCPD and Alexis is there and she's like, what did my grandson do now? And they're like, oh yeah, he was breaking into the WSB. He wanted to talk to someone.
Well,
We told
first he
him
went in correctly.
he did, but they would not help him. So then
Right.
he tried to break in.
Because
And
he's a minor is why they wouldn't talk to him.
right. So then Colum shows up and is like, you could have created so much worse for yourself, but I'll forgive you because I'm creepy. And they're like, okay, thanks so much. And then Danny leaves. And I'm just like, why
Well,
isn't
Alexis
Alex?
had to threaten him. Like, she had to say, sure, I will just go ahead and let everyone know that the WSB is, putting charges against a minor because they won't answer questions about his dad.
Right. No, Alexis definitely pushed, but if Colum would have been not looking for something to have on him, and it would have been like a real, like a legit WSB agent that wasn't a double agent,
Right.
that wouldn't have worked. He would have been like, you can tell whoever you want to tell. We're going to tell everyone that he was breaking in. And Colum even said, is this the first time that he's gone in somewhere he wasn't supposed to? So once the whole public saw that Danny already had a record for being in whatchamacallit's office, Dalton's office, then no one would believe that
He
story.
doesn't, though. Because remember, Rocco took the fall.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like it would still be somewhere. If there was a good reporter anywhere, there would be some information that showed that he was. But anyway, Colum let it drop, and Alexis thinks it's because of her, but it's not. It's just because Colum didn't want to do things through those proper channels. And so then we see Danny go to Crimson. First, we saw Charlotte at Crimson and Nina's like, let's talk about your summer schedule now that you're not in school. And she's like, I'll work whatever. And Nina's like, well, don't we need to talk to your mom? And she's like, no, she's out of town. I'm living with my grandma. It's fine. And Nina's like, well, you can talk to me. And she's like, yeah, because that worked out so well.
Dang, that is chocolatey. All right, you want to see it? Hold on, that is full. Thank you. Holy cow, much I like chocolate, but dang. This is my 1990s Disney glass from McDonald's, just so everyone knows. Yes.
I'm waiting for it to be like a Smurf glass from the 80s or something.
You want to know what I have?
I'm sure that you do.
I do.
I'm sure that you do.
All right.
I'm absolutely not buying that there's nothing in that glass except for, I'm not sure what was in your tumbler that you're now drinking chocolate milk because that's nasty. Unless it was that chocolate wine you just bought.
It's not, but
you can't sing the song while you're blowing the bubbles.
I don't even remember what song I just made up.
Something about how tall you can make them before they overflow.
Yep. See? So you never did that as a kid? All right.
I mean, I can't say that I didn't. I just don't remember. It's not a core memory for me like it is apparently for you. So I do remember the kids doing it.
Okay. Continue with your serious.
Well, now
thing about Nina.
At our next fan event, I expect someone to be like, here, I brought you some bubbles because I think of you every time I see them now for your chocolate milk bubbles.
I'm so glad we do this video thing now.
Man, Charlotte, yes. So Charlotte's talking to Nina, and she's basically just saying to Nina, you picked Willow over me. You're telling me I can confide in you, but really you just use the information against someone else or against me. And Nina's like, well, I know that your dad's here. And she's like, no, actually, my dad's not here anymore. So
Yeah.
you're not up to par. So they go back and forth of Nina trying to convey how much she cares about Charlotte and why this is, an important relationship to her, just as important as Willow. And then she gets the call from the PCPD and is like, yeah, this is real important, but I have to go save my daughter. See you later. So she leaves. And then Danny comes and talks to Charlotte and is like, yeah, so I just broke into the WSB, and she flips out on him for being so stupid. And all the things about how they're going to try to figure out what's going on and what was he going to do? Is he going to turn in Rocco? So why is he even doing this? And they don't really get anywhere other than her saying, I shouldn't have told you this information because you did exactly what I didn't want you to do. And then he leaves. And I thought for a second he wasn't going to turn around. He goes to leave and he sees this guy get off the elevator that looks suspicious because it's the Crimson offices. And you see the guy's gun, but then he pulls his suit jacket closed and whatever. And Danny gets on the elevator. And so I was yelling at him, like, get off the elevator and go help her. But sure enough, a minute later, you see this guy. Again, we don't know his name. But this guy.
No, we do. It's Mark McKay.
Oh, is that in his name? How did I miss that? Okay. So
he said, I'm Agent Mark McKay from the WSB. And she's like, I don't know who you are.
Oh, I guess he did say that. You're right. Okay. So yeah, she's like, I don't know who you are. And he's like, well, you're coming with me. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere with you. And he's like, no, I have orders. Come on, you're coming with me. And she tried to pick up a letter opener or something, but he twisted it out of her hand. And then he said again, you're coming with me. And he went to use the rag with the stuff on it to make her pass out. Right.
Which we know actually does not work.
Right as Danny smashed him over the head with something. And then Charlotte's kind of like, oh no, what do we do? And then he grabbed her hand and they ran off together. So I cannot take
This
you
would be so much better if I had a swirly straw, but I don't have those. But you know what I'm talking about? The kind that like, yeah, now I'm an adult and have stainless steel straws.
Well, the stainless steel is healthier for you than a plastic straw. So
I know. That's why I have them.
All right, good job. I'm proud of you for having stainless steel and not plastic.
I want to see. So this is from the 100th year. Disney. I was trying to see if it had the year on it.
And it was from McDonald's. And it's a glass. Okay. See, I'm mad because a couple years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, there was one of those grown-up Happy Meals, and Emily was still living with us, and she was like, I want the Happy Meal, and you get a cup with it, And so I was all for it because that's what I envisioned. They're plastic. Yep. Yeah.
Here, I'll give you some ASMR.
That video should be worth tons of money now because you...
Yes. Shoot. I forgot to...
It's so satisfying.
Right? But before that, so we had the guy that we don't know his name had been talking to him at Windermere saying that Valentine left him with 2 valuable hostages, and they did that split screen of Charlotte and Carly. So we saw that with Charlotte, but we didn't see anything with Carly yet.
Right.
So a couple little things before we get into Anna, though, was Curtis and Jordan were talking about Sidwell. Oh, actually, hold it before that, because Laura was with Willow. Willow's like, yeah, I'm going to have a writer for on the next spending bill. And Laura's like, oh, I can match the funds. This is great. We're going to do it. And then she's like, anytime I'm having a problem or whatever, I always think, what would Mayor Collins do?
Okay, I was really happy that she didn't reduce it down to the letters, though, because if she would have said it, like people like to change that what would Jesus do into any person, you know what I mean? I was really going to be angry if she was like WUMC.
MLD. Oh, yeah. I was thinking Mayor Laura, but no, MCD.
Yeah. I was like, if she says that, I'm turning off the TV right now. I'm sorry, I can't. So luckily she did use the name and not the initials.
And then we had seen Curtis and Jordan talking about Sidwell and about how she's thinking, she's like, shoot, because this is what we talked about last week. She's like, I don't know if I actually helped him disappear, because she doesn't But it seemed like Marco handled the stuff that Sidwell didn't want her to know about. But
Right.
also, then who's been handling it the past couple months?
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he purchased 352 Vista Lane for a wedding gift
Yes.
to give to Marco and Lucas. And they're wondering why he kept it. And so Jordan called Laura. Laura rushed right there and they're like, oh, that must be where he stayed. And then they called Nathan. Why, even if you don't know this information, why would you call the one that he escaped from?
Right?
Yeah, no.
Hmm.
So there's that. But the only thing left is Anna. Cute hair.
I know. It's so cute. So cute.
Absolutely love it.
It gives me bad
So-
ideas. I cannot do short hair like that. My hair is too thick. But whenever other people look that cute, I'm like, I should cut my hair. It's adorable.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people are getting bangs now again. And I loved having bangs. And then my hairstylist finally was like, you are too, like, this is not the trend anymore. So I haven't had bangs
Mm.
forever. But seeing all those people, I'm like,
You can go get bangs again.
I don't know that I'm allowed. I'll have to ask. I don't know. Like, ask my stylist, not anyone else.
I know what you meant.
All
I know
right.
exactly what you meant. Yep.
I just wanted to make sure. Don't think I'm asking any of the men in my life or my kids.
No.
I meant my
No.
stylist.
You were
That's
asking your
who's in charge.
stylist, would this work for me now? Yes, I got you. So we see her and she's knitting.
Yeah.
And then she winds up talking to the doctor and, well, the doctor was explaining her. So she's explaining to the other guy that she's a very troubling case. Like she has all this trauma. She's brilliant, but now she's delusional and all this stuff. And she's been here for months and there's no change. But then we never saw that guy again.
No.
So where did he go? But anyway, there's a sign. So she's in room 281, but then there's a sign on the wall that says, it says like intimate s'il vous plaît, which means intimate please, which I looked up is not in French rooms. So I don't know why that's in there.
I
but
wondered
whatever.
what that meant. I saw that sign
Yeah.
and was like, I don't know what the rest of that is.
Yeah, s'il vous plaît is please.
Yeah.
So
Now that
that's
you
what
say it, like I know
RSP
that.
is. Respondez-vous s'il vous plaît?
Like-
Respondez s'il vous plaît?
When you
Respond,
say
please.
it, yep, I got it. But reading it, my brain did not. So
But so she wants a good cup of tea, one that she can't use as a weapon. But she talks about how, yeah, I know that I wasn't kidnapped and I know Faison's dead and I know that the truth is that I was recalled to the WSB and, you know, your staff has been so great, but is there anyone that I can talk to? And so she calls Felicia and Felicia is like, yeah, we'll come to France tomorrow morning.
mm-hmm.
And so Emma and Mac
Yeah.
all go to see Anna in France. And it's so sweet because, you know, Anna embraces her and she wasn't the exact opposite, but she was not in a good mental state the last time that Emma saw her. So she was not as grandma-y.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked to Emma alone and said that it had to do with her mother. And it was like she didn't want to see Robin while she was there because she didn't want Robin to get sucked back in. Because she's like, you know, Faison stole years of your mom's life, like from you.
Right.
So Felicia winds up telling the doctor that, you know, she's been through a lot of stuff. So there's probably some stuff that sounds a little bonkers that's probably actually true.
Yep.
And then Anna tells Felicia that Nathan is not who he says he is.
Right.
I'm sorry. Well, I guess she couldn't say that with her in because she was using the other person's. She was using the doctor's phone. So she couldn't have just said it on the phone. That's right.
And I'm sure they were reading any letters that she sent out. So she couldn't have
Yeah.
said it previously in a letter.
But you would think at this point in their friendship, they would have although you and I don't have a code phrase for, hey, by the way, something's wrong. Like if she had said, is Nathan still obsessed with apples? Means there's something off with Nathan, you know? I don't know.
I'm
How do you
thinking
like them apples?
I'm thinking of Lulu and I taught the kids code word.
That's what I was thinking of too.
I'm like, we haven't
But-
come up with a code word before. No, if you start saying everything happens for a reason or whatever the heck
It
it
is what it
was,
is, Amanda. It is what it is.
I'm going to be like, no. And it is what it is, just makes me angry. That doesn't make me want to help you. So,
But yeah. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. I don't know.
no, I didn't like that she definitely was pretending, as everything that she was saying was like, oh, yeah, I wasn't really kidnapped, whenever she knows that she was. But her end goal definitely seemed to get home, and you knew it was too soon for them to take her home. And Felicia even asked, and they're like, yeah, she's made progress, but not enough. So
Right.
it just
But she
felt
made
like,
progress in one session after the
right,
woman told the other guy she's been here for months with no change.
right, right, exactly. So I felt like it was premature to have. I know we wanted to be like reintroduced to Anna because she's been off for a while, but they could have done that like the first half of that session where they're talking about her getting better and seeming better, and then held off on the visit, because I felt like, well, we're not there yet. Like, what was the point of that?
Right.
And she doesn't have enough information on Cassius for that to really mean anything. Even if Felicia believes her, she doesn't know what she's looking for. Like,
Right.
dude, you're acting a little off. Okay. If you were dead for 7 years, you'd be a little off too. So
Mm-hmm. Well, that's probably going to be explained more on Monday.
I hope so.
Yeah. Because that was the Friday. Was that the cliffhanger? Yeah, that was the cliffhanger.
Was it?
I think so. I don't know. I just watched it like 2 hours ago.
I know, me too.
I think it was. I think it was.
I think you're right. I honestly don't know. That's horrible. We are awful tonight.
I
Okay.
know. The milk's gone straight to my head though. So, no, but I think that is everything.
Reality check.
So, how was your week?
Oh, a little bit of the same everything. No, my week was good because I got to have a little girls getaway with you in the middle of the week, which we
Yes.
don't usually get to do, period. I mean, it's been almost a year since our last one. So,
Yep. It was last July. So,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah, and it was fun. I mean, you can talk more about like our whole purpose of being there, but we were going to Columbus, and that was fun because I had not been to Columbus in a while. And so it was just neat to go with you guys and be like, oh, hey, that's that road, or that's that road. And I got to introduce you to my favorite pizza of Donato's.
Hmm.
So that was exciting. I wish I would have bought more though, because we crushed the one that I took home yesterday. And then today I was like, man, why didn't I have another one for today's leftovers?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was so much fun. I like our little nights away. So
Me too. We need them to, well, no, we need more trips that are close enough, but not like 5 and 6 hours away.
yeah, I
Is
felt
that
like
all
that
you
was
did?
the right amount.
Yeah.
Wow,
That
that
was,
was all. Yeah, that was all that I did. Madeline did. One of the local churches does a Bible camp that's like super popular around here. I know I've talked about it in the past summers because she's done it all the time. So she did it again this summer, and she got to be one of the work crew and set everything up and all that kind of stuff. And she's already talking about next year how she'll be a counselor in training. So she's super excited for all that stuff. So she had a good week, but yeah, she was busy all week doing all of that stuff. So, and
well,
Ryan was boring but helpful this week because he took the couple of days off so that he could transfer her butt around while I was with you. And that's pretty much it.
yeah, I just checked my calendar and I think that's pretty much all I did too.
I mean, it was
Other,
exciting enough. I'll let
like
you
work
get to
stuff.
it.
Right,
But
right. Well, we shared that we were going to Columbus to see Jonathan Jackson and Clare Bowen for their stories and songs
Mhm.
of like Nashville, the TV show and everything. And it was the same name of the show that we saw last year, but it was not the same exact show, which was so
Right.
nice. Like they changed some of this. So the first hour, they basically have scripted out, like they have it planned out and everything. But then when they get to the top of the hour, they're basically like, all right, cool, we're going to open up to questions, no stupid questions. There's only stupid answers, and that's on us, which I loved, was so funny. And we were able to do video this year, which was so nice.
Yes.
And we brought my daughter with us. So
Mhm.
last year, Claire had announced that she was diagnosed autistic as an adult. And so I did not tell my daughter that beforehand. And I was like, oh, shoot, I don't know if she's going to say it again. Like, I don't know if that was like a one off or whatever when we saw her. So she did share it. And my daughter said, she goes, what? And she was just so
That's
excited.
so cute. Like, because I wasn't looking at you guys because I sat across from you guys. So I was obviously looking at the stage, but I could just hear it even without really trying to pay attention to her. Just the way that she
Mhm.
like perked up and was like, what? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Yes. And so, yeah, it was a great show. And then somebody had the guts. I would not have thought to do it.
Hmm.
I've talked about it before that him singing Unchained Melody like makes me cry every single time. I don't know if we've actually played it on the podcast. I don't think we have because I think
I
you
haven't,
actually have to watch it and we've
yeah,
only been doing video for like a month.
right.
So if you go to YouTube, look up Jonathan Jackson Unchained Melody at the Grand Ole Opry. It's going to change your life. So somebody said they had seen him at the Rynham Theater. Why do
Rhinum,
I
I
feel like
think.
I'm Rynham?
Rhinum.
I'm saying it wrong.
You said it right the second
I
time.
said it. Man, this milk did go to my head. So in Nashville, and asked if he would play it. And he said, well, usually, and it's funny because if you look, so I took a video. He like kind of looks at Claire and she's like, you got to do it, dude. And I like immediately grabbed my phone and I had taken a couple videos, but like I was not being that person that videoed the entire thing, you know?
Mhm.
There were a couple songs I took like maybe a minute snippet of just because I was like, okay, I need to remember this one. But he's like, yeah, I typically do the standing up and without an instrument. Like I have a band behind me playing the music, but let's try it. And it was amazing. And I bawled my eyes out. And in my recording, you can hear my sniffles.
Mhm.
And I started my recording by saying, shut up to Amanda, because I could see her out of that face that she has right now. I could see out of the corner of my eye. But it really was. It was your friend knows what is about to happen and is like so happy because of how happy I was that this was
Mhm.
happening. But she knew that I was going to bawl my eyes out.
Yep.
And so it was so nice though. It's a really good show. I didn't know that it was the last one of their tour this year, though.
No,
So
me neither. Yeah.
I guess keep an eye on their pages to be in like maybe 2027 announcements.
Right.
But it was really good.
Mhm.
And we got to meet him again afterwards. And that was fun.
It was
And
he
I
said
was
that
not
he
a bumbling
recognized
idiot.
you. You were not a bumbling idiot, and he said that you looked familiar.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting. And they did announce that they just completed a movie together.
Yes,
So
that's
that's
right.
exciting. We'll definitely have to make that a 411. I don't know. I'm assuming it's a straight to TV, but they didn't really specify. So
Yeah,
once
they
we
didn't.
know where to find it, we'll definitely have to watch it, and that will be one of our 411s because
Yes. Yes. They're just so sweet together. And her husband was there and his wife was not though this time. So that was kind of a bummer, but because that was something that was so nice about the show last year was them talking about their love story and everything. So that was
right.
cute. But yeah, he read a poem out of his
Mhm.
poetry book that he's been writing for like 10 years, I think he said, something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, I
yeah, it
liked
was
that
good.
it was the same enough that we knew what to expect, but different enough that there was still it wasn't the same show. Like, I
Right.
really did enjoy the fact that it wasn't like, "Oh, we just paid money for something that we had already seen the other day." Like,
Right.
not the other day, but last year, whatever.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just the and I did miss his wife being there because that was so good, but I also feel like it switched up the dynamic some, and we got
Hmm.
a little bit more of him because I feel like when their spouses are there, they kind of focus on making sure that their spouses feel included, and so without her there, I feel like we got more of him.
Just him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because then they each bring out like a different side of each other too. So if we had
True.
only had like Claire and Jonathan instead of Brandon was also on stage,
Mhm.
like we had the beginning, they had the two of them for what, like the first 10, 15 minutes, and then
Right.
he came out. But then I don't know. It was just, I absolutely like, I see what you're saying and everything, but also like their spouses bring out a different side of them that it's kind of neat to see. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm
this is
glad
what
you
you're
got
like at
both.
home.
Mhm.
Like, oh, so he does leave dirty dishes? Cool, thanks. But yeah, if you get a chance to see them, definitely do it. So yeah, I was pretty much boring, and I was just tired today because,
I mean, I can't imagine why you like
I
drove
think the
all the way
weather's also
there and
not
all the way
helping.
back.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
also it was a nice day on Wednesday, and then we drove home, and it's like just been a crummy kind of
Mhm.
day today. We're getting
Yeah.
crummy weather right now in Pittsburgh. Not a fan of it, but
Yep. Too rainy.
yep. But yeah, so join us on Thursday as we have our next fan spotlight,
Have a good week.
and we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.